Good afternoon, iRacers! Welcome to Apex Racing TV. Thank you for joining us here this afternoon for the iRacing Grand Prix Series, round number 3. We're at Donington, and fresh off what was a pretty exciting real-life Grand Prix, Conrad. Lots of controversy right at the end there.
Yeah, a couple of corners from the end, well, 7 corners from the end, and the race came to life and it all kicked off. And for those that haven't watched it, I won't give it away, but it's worth watching every single one of the 71 laps.
Obviously Donington, very tricky track, very narrow. We obviously don't come here in real life. It not easy to overtake here. When I'm just trying to remember when the Williams went here was the last time I think this series had been here. I don't believe we've run this car here, so it was, nigh on impossible to overtake. So I expect very, very similar again today to DRS zones, but they're very short, main straight, and of course the back one going into the chicane. One thing we do have to keep an eye out for as well, as while the drivers are taking to qualifying right now, is that there is a couple of landmines going through the Craner curve. So one just on the inside as you start to come down, and then one a little bit wider as well. So could be tricky for drivers to get through there too wide. The one on the inside is right on the racing line as well. So it's something perhaps that we didn't know about, and caused a fair few people a headache in qualifying and things like that. So we'll keep an eye out for that, because if somebody hits that on the first lap, Conrad, going through Craners like towards the front, well, all hell is going to break loose.
Yeah, I mean in the first few laps, the tires are still warming up, and the cars are heavy on fuel, so obviously the ride heights are a little bit lower. So the chances are there that they are more likely to hit those landmines in the first couple of laps.
Yeah, and just looking at, I wonder if you could bring up the track conditions, or just tell me what they are at the moment, because I can't seem to get that to work for whatever reason.
Track conditions is it's nice and cool today, with the ambient temperature of 18 degrees Celsius and a track temperature of 38 degrees Celsius. So both nice and cool. Should give the drivers ample of grip out there, and the tires should hold up quite well as well.
Well, I fully expect that we'll probably see some no-stops going on there. From what I've been sort of hearing this week as well, some drivers were struggling to make it work in the hotter conditions, but the cooler, not so bad. So I think everybody's going to be able to stick with that, which is... we always like to see those split strategy races more than anything, don't we? I think they bring the excitement.
Yeah, I think the cooler temperatures rewards a driver that takes the chance for a pit stop. It just gives you the opportunity to get out there on a lighter fuel load and just really work the car a lot harder than you would be able to on a no stopper.
Just on board with Daniel Wenson and his very, very iconic McLaren livery. I have no doubts who he supports or supported.
I have to say I tend to lean the same way in terms of Formula One support. And McLaren, Fernando Alonso could have had a better race, but what a drive by Jenson Button.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would mind too much about saying that, but yeah, definitely I would put him down as driver of the day, right up there, and so close to holding on to what would have been a top 5.
Interesting. I was reading up on Donington a little bit earlier before we came up on air. The track record in real life is held by Alan Prost in the Williams FW15, and that's a 1 minute 10.5 or 1 minute 10.4. We're seeing Daniel Wensing at the moment 107.4, so going a whole 3 seconds quicker than those guys did back in 1993, and also Donington, built back in the 1930s at a massive cost of £12,000. So these days, I think a Formula One steering wheel costs about 4 times that price. But there you go.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what the funding that they tried to seek when they wanted to do the alterations to the circuit to try and get it back to you know, FIA Grade 1 status so they could host a Grand Prix again. But it was, yeah, millions and millions and millions. So
Yeah, I
crazy,
think they.
really. You think how much it cost them to build it to start off with.
That of course all kicked off back in 2009, and the figure that they needed to upgrade the circuit eludes me. But I think, in reading, the whole reason why Donington didn't go ahead is because they couldn't raise the funds to stage the Grand Prix, which was around about 135 million.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, and it turned out they, you know, the all that hard work to get it prepped, and you know, because they dug half of it up getting ready, didn't they? So it all went to pot.
Yeah, it was all ready to go. And by the way, at least with iRacing and the simulation we're running here, we get an opportunity to get a little bit of a taste of what a Grand Prix in real life might be like around Donington.
But qualifying's done, Conrad. Can you take us through the final standings?
Yeah, we've got Daniel Vensing and on pole position with a 107.4. 3/10 behind him is Manuel Domingo. Third place, Kevin Ellis Jr., Zoran Jonic. And fourth place, Fernando Guerrero in fifth. Sixth place is Ruslan Sabitov. Seventh place is Ricardo Orozco. And we've got Kleber Toffoli in eighth place. Ninth place is Daniel Benefield. Andrea Perazzi in 10th, Mark Warmington 11th, Floris Bashar in 12th place, Ferenc Kern in 13th, Andre Eisenlorn 14th, and then the last row is Gary Larson and Ronaldo Augusto.
Yeah, a few new faces into this split, but I think we'll. I'm not surprised actually with. I'm not saying anything about the circuit or anything like that. I'm just sort of staying straight. We were literally 20 minutes after the end of the official or the real life Grand Prix. So fair play to everybody to get themselves into this one in time.
Yeah, we've still got 16 drivers. They're running a respectable strength of field here. It's 3,000, just under 3,800. So not bad at all. There should be good points on offer for the top three.
Here we go then, Conrad. Revs are building here at Donington Park for round number 3 of the iRacing Grand Prix Series. And we are away. A couple of people getting out of shape off of the line, but held it together. Just make sure everyone gets through turn 1. Wensin, no problems, leads Domingo from Kevin Ellis Jr. And you got Zoran Jonic with Guerrero to the outside of him. Everybody got down and through the Craner curves. No one's hit the bump as far as I can tell.
Everybody right through to the end, clean through, no incidents whatsoever. That's a nice change from what we've seen in the past. And no change in the top 5 either. Only first positional change off the start was Orozco making a place up against Sabitov. They've swapped positions. Mark Warmington falling down the field, though he must have had some issues. He's dead last right now. We'll have a look back and see what happened there.
Yeah, Orozco, like I say, 6th place, just very, very close. Oh, with Sabitov right now. And I think Sabitov may well have just got by through the hairpin. He's going to hold on to that place as well as he's gone the inside through the final corner.
And Warmington had just a bit of an oversteer issue going through turn 8. That's of course the corner just before the S's, or the chicane as we call it. And no damage, no contact with anybody, just a bit of problems turning into the corner.
He's going to have to fight his way back up there then. Already closed the gap up to Larson ahead of him as well, so grid fairly close. Pretty impressed with that. After the first lap, stayed a lot closer than I thought it would do.
Yeah, we're looking through to the top 10 is covered by just under 6 seconds, and then the gap's opening up a little bit more. A couple of guys, you always lose time when you're running towards the back end, and then of course Mark had his off-track issue, but he's closing up pretty quickly to the back of Gary Larson, and starting 11th. Should be good to see if he can make his way back up to around about 10th spot.
Bashir just having a little look on Toffoli ahead of him, and he's got Andrea behind him right now as well. Wensin putting in the fastest lap of the race, just trying to eke out. We're on lap 3, DRS is enabled of course. Domingo just trying his best to hold inside that at the moment. He has, quite successfully, just 0.7, 0.8 of a second there. He loses a little bit of time through, they call that the old hairpin. I'm not very familiar with the Donington names.
Yeah, it's the older hairpin. I think that was attributed to somebody off the track there, just behind Bashar. That's Perazzi running really wide in turn 7, getting back on, but he's lost the place doing so. And Frenska driving straight past them.
Yeah, let's see if Friends can hold on to it. Didn't have the DRS, but it's like I said, it's very, very short straight down there, so it's extremely difficult to to get a run. You really need the driver to make a mistake coming out of the corner before the straight there to get it to make it happen.
Yeah, we might have been well served having the track layout of when it was first built. Turn 8 was sort of the second to last corner, and then it ran all the way as a straight through to the Melbourne hairpin, and you came back on yourself, and where the start finishes now, they would have gone the opposite direction to start a new lap. So that would have made a very long straight from the second to last corner.
So Wensin now does have a 1.2 second lead, and pulling away at the moment from Positive Sim Racing car behind him of Manuel Domingo. Kevin Ellis Jr. just behind him, 0.8 of a second back. He's got Zoran Jonic behind him too. Zoran actually under a little bit of pressure from Fernando Guerrero right now, and his teammate is just tucked up behind him too.
Yeah, and it's a good showing from the Positive Sim Racing guys. I've spotted 3 cars, so yeah, they make up 20% of the field that we're seeing here today. There you go, Daniel Vensing with another fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 9 flat. Won't be too long, I suspect, before we see him dip into the 1 minute 8. Oh, Domingo's off. I suspect that's the landmine you were talking about coming through those S's.
Let's take a little look, we'll see.
Yeah.
Bad, I mean it does hit you pretty hard if you're not aware of it. Suddenly you just like, oh wow. So you get just a little bit too far over to the left, a bit sort of half on the curb, and the sort if like the tongue of your chassis, you had a big moment before that as well. But yeah, if the tongue of the chassis sort of around the white line, that seems to be where it hit. And he was a bit wide. I tell you, that's not the worst we've seen. When you hit it, and when you see someone hit it, you'll know, because the car just goes all over the place. That was he got away with that one a little bit.
Yeah, from second place, he'll be kind of frustrated, and going off the track, he was sliding the car as well, so it wouldn't have done the tires any good either. But let's just have a quick look. Saying that, if anybody wanted some team screenshots for Positive Sim Racing, and now is the time as they run Linus turn, all 3 of them, as they come down to the old hairpin once again. Well, if you were just behind Domingo, one of the cars behind Domingo, watching him hit that little landmine going off track, it's just going to make you a little bit nervous going through there once again as the race goes on.
Yeah, I guess we found it pretty quickly in the testing, I have to say. So I would fully expect that everybody's aware of that, and that'll just be a bit of a reminder to everybody, I think.
Just looking at them, I know just behind them is a Roscoe as well. Roscoe looking down the inside of the final hairpin on Domingo, and he's made that move stick. I was just going to say, if there's a corner to keep an eye on, is the Melbourne hairpin. Later on in the race, of course, are running close and they're desperate to make up positions, but Roscoe's showing there that yeah, the last corner is just as good as any place.
Yep. And Domingo really nervous now because he's going very wide through that corner as well. So I wonder if he's aware actually there's one just a little bit offline to the right as well. It's as the track really compresses down there, the car doesn't react at all well to it. But yeah, it just causes craziness with the car. So I think if you stiffen up the rear somewhat, you're okay. But yeah, right now it seems to be everybody seems to be running, pretty soft at the back.
Yeah, this is not, of course, not the first track where we've seen stuff like this. I remember a few seasons ago, the HPD was running around Mossport, where it is this week as well, and going just on that, going through that little dip into Moss Corner was a huge landmine as well, and just HPDs were flying off the track everywhere, going through there. And again, there's just you go through a bit where the car just compresses a little bit, and like you said, it just gives you a little bump in the backside, and off you go.
Having a little look at Ferenc Kern and Bashir. Oh, actually, we need to switch up. Battle for second place right now. Zoran Jonic on the outside of Kevin Ellis Jr. Through Koppis. Kevin's just about held on to that. And yeah, Zoran had a good opportunity to do that, but didn't manage to pull it off. They exchanged positions a couple of times there.
Ellis Jr. doing really well to keep hold of that. You could see on the run up to turn 8, just the dust flying off the tires as he kicks it up, driving offline, and that's going to give you a little bit less grip. Janic taking a nice tight line around the last corner. Compromises his exit though, and on they carry.
Winston is checking out right now. 5.3 seconds clear in just 9 laps. Well, 8 laps really. So absolutely on it this week, and yeah, everybody else having a great little battle for second. So as Zoran just puts a couple of wheels into the gravel. Of course, we picked up on as well. We've been quite fortunate with some of the circuits we've been to, not pulling any gravel on because they've had lots of runoff area and things like that. But here you definitely can do it, and it does make the car quite twitchy, and doesn't seem to clear very quickly. This is some of the feedback that we've had so far as well. So, car under load should really clean up a line pretty quickly, especially when you've got 16 of them running out there. So hopefully that's something that will get tweaked.
Yeah, I think Donington is a little bit unique in that respect. I mean, there's so many corners where they, on the apex of the corner or coming out of the corner, on the curb on the outside, they drag a lot of dust onto the track as well.
Crash! Sorry, Conrad. This is between Andrea and I'm not sure who the other car was. Might have been Bashir.
Yeah, it was indeed.
What happened. He's a long way back for the moment. Did he just completely miss his braking or something in there?
No. Perazzi had a moment and then trying to correct
slow
himself.
Down, didn't he, as well? That's what put him behind.
Perazzi,
yeah, exactly. Just spun. Nothing. No fault. But then drove back into the. Oh, yeah. That's rookie. Absolute rookie style. He's in rookie white, so bit in, I'm afraid. But just to, just hold hold the position. Wait for the traffic. User free. Don't be that guy that has a crash and then takes somebody else out because you try and recover to carry on as quick as you can. Yeah, poor.
Yeah, Andre Eisenlaw, the innocent bystander there. You see it time and time again, and it's not very difficult just to keep your eye on your relative screen and just wait for a gap. Andre Eisenlaw, they're really frustrated right now.
I know that stuff in our Pro Series and the World Championship is massively frowned upon as Zoran's getting close again. Everybody just a bit nervous through Koppis. Craner curves. And yeah, like I said, it's massively frowned on, and we will go as far as to get a penalty if we do something like that. And I think they ought to bring more heavier penalties in for that. I mean, yes, we have safety rate and things like that, but if I'm, I want to say what I want to say here, and that is kind of like you ought to be able to protest that, and because it's shocking driving.
Ultimately, the guy that might suffer the most from that is as someone who had nothing to do with the initial incident, and that's always frustrating to see. Before all of that kicked off, we did have a frantic battle for 14th, 15th, and 16th. That gap, or they have spread out a little bit. Gary Larson, Ronaldo Gusto, Perazzi is down there now, but they all had a little ding dong between the three of them before we switched our attention up to the Eisenlohr incident.
Yeah, Domingo closing back in on Ricardo as well, so I don't know quite what he's done, but I think that little spin has just sort of took the edge off of the tyres for Domingo, because he's not quite had the pace. And I know these guys are particularly close from second down to fourth. I mean, it's still only 4 seconds separating, second down to seventh. It's only 4 seconds covering those, so it's very, very close. But yeah, he's just not been able to get back up to him and sort of put any kind of pressure on him.
It'd be interesting to see his sector times though, see if there's any particular. I suspect he's just really, really tentative going through the Craner curves now with Zarosca is right onto the backside of Sabatov coming down over the start-finish straight. This is where we might see the DRS do its job a little bit, not quite. He's going to try and do the undercut as they go through turn 1.
Oh, that's good. Looks very, very good.
Yeah, and
awesome
Sabatov
drive out of there, finishes that move off. So line that up absolutely perfect. Great overtake there. Textbook stuff, looked awesome on the broadcast too.
I think Sabatov knew he was beaten there and pulled out of it as they were coming out of turn 1. There's no point risking it, going side by side through those crater curves, and especially with those landmines lurking halfway down the hill as well. But yeah, he started that move coming into the last corner and finished it off as they were exiting turn 1. Roscoe, brilliant move by him.
Second and third, so Kevin and Zoran definitely picked up their pace a little bit. They're only dropping back about 0.5 of a second from Wensing right now, so I don't know if that's the sort of the fighting, pushing each other on a bit there to get the lap time out there, or maybe just Daniel's just taking it a little bit easier, actually 1/10 of a second quicker that lap.
Oh, we're on lap 14 at the moment, so if somebody's going to make a pit stop, we're about just over halfway to that pit stop, and it might be a good chance just to see how much tire drop off the guys have had to put up with since the start of the race. Wensing at the moment is lapping 0.6 of a second slower than his fastest. Then the rest of them, well, apart from Orozco, who's just posted his fastest lap on the last lap with a 109.4. Everybody's sort of losing anywhere between 2 to 3 to 5 tenths of a second.
Not massive. Obviously, the first few laps tend to be a little bit better with the fresh rubber and things like that. So, but yeah, let's keep an eye on what are the last sort of like 5 or 6 laps. Any kind of noticeable drop off in those, or is it just really from the very early laps?
Well, we'll pick a random driver. Guerrero. Let's have a look and see what his lap times have been like. It's just. It looks like they're struggling a little bit with consistency. I mean, lap 6 for him was still in the 1:10s, then he dropped into 1:09, so that was a 1:09.6. His fastest lap actually only came on lap 12, and then all of a sudden he's dropped into the 0.8s. I think we might get a better picture as we go into the next 5 or 6 laps, but at the moment it just seems like everybody's just dropping off a little bit.
It is a tricky old circuit, I have to say, and it is easy to make little mistakes here that cost you a couple of tenths of a second. Sometimes you think you nailed the corner and actually you've taken way less speed in than you actually realise, so you just drop 2 tenths here, 2 tenths there. Daniel Benningfield, name we haven't talked about for a little while. Obviously used to race in the Williams FW31 with us as well for a little bit. Joined Avid Chronic Racing when he started doing some R-Factor FSR, I think it was. I'm not exactly sure what series he was in, but yeah, good to see him back in the car.
Yeah, like I said, we haven't seen him for a while. He sort of disappeared without me knowing anything about it. I just saw him pop up and on social media every now and again, and that's where I learned about the different sim racing experiences.
Just switching up to Domingo, who's got his teammate Sabatov ahead of him right now. Half a second. These guys have been sort of ebbing and flowing this gap for a little while. Sabatov really not able to get back onto Ricardo, so I think yeah, it's almost going to be go time for Domingo to get past. He has a little look at the inside of the hairpin. Nothing going there.
Oh, he's taking a nice wide line coming through the last corner. Our last corner is really deceptive though. I mean, it doesn't feel like much, and it's kind of a blind corner as well. But just as you come out of the corner and want to start getting on the accelerator again, it just seems to fall away from you a little bit. Oh, Domingo, you can see, just having a few
Nervous,
more issues with that.
Yeah, he's nervous through there. Just behind them, good little battle forming up as well. This is between Forenzkern and Toffoli. So Toffoli actually closing in on the two. Sorry, not the two ahead. Daniel Benningfield ahead of him, who in turn is also closing in on the two that we were just watching. So yeah, pack sort of coming back together a little bit.
Yeah, we've also seen the whole field just split up a little bit. You've got the top 10 separated from first to 10th, separated by 17 seconds, and then between 10th and 11th there's a 20-second gap, and back down to 16th place they're all covered by about 7 seconds, 7 seconds.
Tyres clearly not a problem, as our race leader just puts a 108.957 in. So yeah, fastest lap of the race. A couple of cars hitting that bump on the main straight there as well. It's pretty much all the way across the circuit, so in a way unavoidable. You just need to make sure your car can ride it okay. Forenzkern just 0.2 of a second off of Toffoli right now. Will he be able to get a move done? Drops a little bit of time through the old hairpin into McLean's, and you can see I found myself a track map. Hey.
Yeah, admittedly I've had to go down for a track map as well, but personally I find numbers a lot easier to remember than the names.
To the chicane, not quite great exit for Kern, so he's not going to be able to put a move on down and into the hairpin, but very, very wide on the exit for Toffoli there. It's going to make him a tiny bit vulnerable into the final turn. Lorenz can line up possibly good exit here. Don't think he's close enough, 4 tenths, so as we've seen though, you can make the DRS sort of work down here just to get you in a position to pull something off going through the Craner curve. So, but yeah, not able to replicate what we saw earlier on from Ricardo.
Yeah, Roscoe was right under the wing of Sabatov there, and you really that's really the only way you're going to make it work. Just looking at Forenzkern going down the main straight, he didn't even hit 300 kilometers an hour, so it really is very difficult.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of places in the circuit we don't even get to 8th gear. Like, you could almost rev it out in 7th gear here and it not slow you down or anything. Mistake there for Foley. So a little bit of pressure comes in, and it's a strange place to lose it, Conrad. On the exit there, you really must have been hammering on the gas pedal to have lost it there. A bit too early, a bit too aggressive. Maybe the car hadn't quite settled down, took a little bit too much of the inside curve. Let's have a look at it back again, see what he does. Yeah, he did take an awful lot of the left-hander part of that and just unsettled the car a little bit. It looked okay, but when he picked up the gas, just had a bit of an instant spin moment.
Yeah, it's an easy mistake to make. Even for us hapless people in the Formula Renault, that's not as quick as these cars. Seen it happen many a times. We've got our first person in the pits as well. That is De Foley. Maybe he's decided he's had enough of those tires. He gets a new set. Just over 4 seconds for the pit stop, and he's on his way again.
Makes sense, to be honest. He just had a big old moment on there, cooks him, and you know what we have found with this car is when you do have huge moments like that, it's very, very difficult to get them back in under control, and makes the no stop very difficult. Even some of the pro guys have done it. I remember the first race of the season, Mitchell de Jong, very, very quick, but just cooked his tyres a little bit and then couldn't get the temperature back down, and he was just dropping down through the order. So I had to switch up to a 2-stop strategy just to get it to the end. So yeah, it's everybody seems to be struggling with that somewhat.
Well, we'll have a look now. His fastest lap up until the pit stop was a 109.5. 31 laps to go. And we'll see what he does once these tires come up to temperatures. Another person into the pits. That looks like Mark Warmington.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, it looks like a very bumpy pit lane as well. Once you get to that, to be a lollipop man, as reminiscent of Suzuka, really.
Used to having touring cars and things like that. You know, British GTs going through it, not an F1 car that's 25 mil off the ground or something like that. Oh, major moment for Zoran as well. Just really struggling on the exit there, and not able to keep the car quite underneath him.
He's lost a bit of time to Kevin Ellis Jr. there, hasn't he?
Yeah, sorry, I take that back. He was able to keep the car underneath him, but not smoothly, not without compromising somewhat. You're right, 1.4 seconds back as well.
Well, Manuel Domingo seems to have found a little bit more confidence from somewhere after his landmine escapades. He's just posted his fastest lap of the race with a 109.1.
Yeah, so just trying to close back in on Ricardo. He's when did he get past Sabatov? Did we miss that? Got past his teammate. I don't recall seeing that. So yeah, he's through and pulling away from him.
I'll have a look, see if I can find it.
Driver we haven't spoke about all race long. Gary Larson, we don't normally see him in this split, so yeah, good for him to get in there. He's right in the mix, really, with sort of this sort of 10th place and back. That sort of group seems to have dropped back from the front runners. Ricardo into the pits, he can't make it on a no stop, so he's going to have to come through from the back. Should come out ahead of Andre, who's just going through the hairpin right now. He will do easy. So hasn't got to worry about that. Ferenc Kern also in. Will he come out in front of those? That one's going to be a bit closer. You can see him coming around now, but yeah, he does it easy.
Sorry, just quickly go back to Domingo. That pass he made was into turn 1 on lap 20. A bit of a forceful move, but I mean they gave each other enough space in the end, and yeah, Domingo going through on Sabatov.
Back down to 0.8 of a second is the gap between Kevin Ellis Jr. and Zoran Yonec. So these guys, yeah, there's not an awful lot separating them. I think probably Zoran's got the pace, but just can't really find anywhere to overtake. So it's going to be tricky for him if they both go for a no stop. What do you think, Conrad? If you were struggling to get by here, but you know you were quicker, would you perhaps commit and try and do a one stop, just to see if you could attack him later on in the race and be 1.5 seconds a lap quicker or something like that?
Well, if I looking at who has stopped so far and potentially how many places you can lose in the pit stop, I reckon for Jonic it's a viable option. The pit stop. I mean, the pit stop is only going to cost him about 20 odd seconds, but he's got to do it now. He's coming up to halfway, and in order to close that gap, he's going to need a maximum amount of laps to do so.
Certainly a gamble, no matter which way you do it. Slightly cooler conditions, so we expect the tyres to last a little bit longer here, but yeah. Like you say, I think if it had been 5 laps ago and he thought about it, that might have been a bit more, feasible, because it'd have been a lot quicker. So, for a much longer period of time. So, made the what would have been effectively the undercut, but would have closed in a lot. So yeah, maybe too late now. Daniel Benenfield closing in on Ruslan Sabatov. Sabatov dropping back all of a sudden, struggling to stay in the mid 109s and more around sort of the high 9s and 10s now, and Benenfield just putting in a sort of a high 9 compared to a 10.5, and that gets him very, very close indeed.
I'll just quickly come back to Alice Jr. and Zoran Jonic. If Jonic pits now, at the end of this current lap, he'll come out at a nice fat gap for himself. He's got a Roscoe 25 seconds behind him, and Benefield's only 10 seconds behind. So he's going to have about a 10-second gap in front of him, which he can use to close the gap up back to the few guys that's in front of him. And he's only going to lose 2 places. Considering the tire drop-off we've seen in the past, possibly not as bad here because of the track temperature, but I mean, he's certainly going to gain.
Definitely sounds like a good option then. But again, like I say, the longer he leaves it, the worse it'll be. We've been called out on that thought and theory before, though, haven't we?
Benefield's through on Sabatov as well, sorry.
Silverstone?
Yeah. That was just that was insane. Sometimes you just see something a little bit special, and that was one of them. So when it says Sabatov is in the pits as well, he's coming for some fresh tires.
That makes that strategy even more viable. Oh, Ferencz almost got him. Does in fact get by as well. Just squeezes through. So the undercut for Ferencz working extremely well. He was about 3 or 4 seconds back, so really caught up. Just some great lap times there. 8.1 seconds behind Ricciardo, so he's going to struggle, I think, to catch up him. But some of these other drivers that they decide to stay out, well, they could come back into play later on for Ferencz here. So yeah, see how this one pans out. We're starting to get what we asked for, actually, Conrad. We're starting to get these split strategies. We all I thought it was a slam dunk, no stop cooler conditions, but apparently not.
Yeah, we've had 8 guys in the pits. That's exactly half the field.
Mistake, sorry, for Ferencz into the hairpin. Almost give that place back to Sabatov straight away there, but yeah, just about holds on. Sabatov was about 3 seconds behind Domingo when he pitted, so yeah, depending on whether Domingo's going to stay out, which I would suggest he probably is going to do right now. I think Ferencz could potentially jump him if he does pop in to the pits as well in the next lap or two. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be it'll be a tough slog to catch him up in the amount of laps left, but definitely doable.
Yeah, I think Domingo, all of them, Guerrero, Domingo, they still have that window open to them to pit and roughly come out where they were before the round of pit stops. But again, the longer they leave it, the less likely it is that it's going to happen. And I mean, with that little gap between the age of the tires, overtaking is going to be near on impossible.
This is the closest battle on track right now between Ferencz and Ruslan Sabatov, and there's no reason why Sabatov can't come back at Kern right now. It was just ahead before the pits. It has slightly fresher tyres if it is only by a couple of laps, but Yeah, it still makes the difference at the end.
Yeah, I think we can start looking now. Roscoe is the top runner who has made a pit stop. He's in 7th place. He's just posted a 109 flat. Compare that to any of the 6 guys in front of him. Benefield was a 10.1. Domingo a 9.5. Guerrero did a 10 flat. Guerrero's in the pits. Jonic 9.5, Cameron LSG 9.5, so at least eking out half a second a lap against everybody that's in front of him.
And while that doesn't sound like an awful lot at this particular point in time in the race, that half a second towards the end will become a second, maybe more, so that's where it becomes far more interesting.
Guerrero out of the pits, just beating Roscoe.
Timed that well, actually realised he needed, if he was going to come in, he could do it at that point. So late stop for Guerrero. He's obviously felt like, well, they're not going to make it, but I'm not going to lose too much track position here, so I'll take that gamble. And yeah, we'll see what he can do, because he should, in theory, be even quicker than Ricciardo. What lap did Ricciardo pit?
Oh no, put me on the spot. Hang on, I'll find it. Ricciardo came in lap, looks like lap 22.
Oh, well,
that doesn't matter now.
Yep. I was just going to say, so there's 7 laps difference in the tyres, but yeah, you're right, that's ruined that. Bit eager for Ricciardo. We see a couple of people just fall victim there, just get over the inside a little bit too much. Cost him an awful lot of time, about 8 seconds that did as well, because Ferenc Kern is now right on his tail as well, with fresher rubber as well, so let's see what Ferenc can do.
Yeah, Ferenc, I think put a lap earlier, but yeah, he's going to struggle now. He's cooked the tyres anyway. It's fresh rubber as well, so it's a little bit of a wasted set of tyres. And Kern is going to be, he's going to see that, and just maybe take Roscoe a lap or two just to gather himself again. There's definitely an opportunity here to get close and stick one up the inside into one of the corners and see what happens.
Winston just about to hit the 10-second gap up front as well, so still powering on strong. He did a race earlier on in the week that was a no stop as well, so I expect that's going to be a very similar strategy for him today. So 10 seconds up the road from anybody. It's looking very, very comfortable, I have to say right now, Conrad. I can't see anybody getting close, unless he makes a mistake, of course.
Yeah, he's bought himself a nice little gap, 10 second gap now, and the closest person to him who's made a pit stop is Guerrero, who is 33 seconds behind him. So, I mean, by that rationale, Guerrero, to have any impact on the race win, would have to start catching Vensing at over a second and a half a lap, which even on the grainiest tyres at the end of the race is not going to happen.
No, exactly. Yeah, right now it's actually worth pointing out the last lap, it was actually slower by 0.3 of a second as well. So, yeah, very comfortable indeed for Daniel.
We see Guerrero posting his first flying lap on the new tyres. He's done a 109.4. The guy in front of him, Daniel Benefield, did a 1 minute 10.1. And then
that's
again,
going to come together by the end of the race for sure. That'll be quite close.
Yeah, I mean, since he came out of the pits, the gap has already dropped by about a second and a half. The likes of Domingo, Jonic, and Alice Jr. might be a little bit harder to catch. They're running pretty decent lap times with a 9.4, 9.6, and 9.3 currently. Roscoe fastest lap of the race, 108.9. So he's on the fly.
Yeah, again it brought up Daniel's name, but it was Ricciardo. Yeah, and an 8.96 to be try and be as precise as we can. Depending on which live timing app you're using, of course, because they do vary slightly by a thousandth or something crazy. Doran, just checking in really with this battle for P2. I mean, it's just not really been able to get close. As he got close, Kevin pulls away. He gets close, Kevin pulls away. You know, there's just been up and down like crazy. And both drivers very, very similar out there right now.
Yeah, but the both of them is just coming up to Andre Eisenlaw to lap him. This might be the kind of thing that that Jan's been waiting for. I mean, it normally takes the first guy in a little train to maybe just to startle a back marker a little bit, costing him some time, and the second guy in the train usually benefits a little bit from that.
An 8.8 for Ferenc Kern, fastest lap of the race by him. So he's really putting it down right now. Trying to stick with Ricardo. Ricardo, did have a little bit of pace pulled away, but makes a little mistake. And as they go through, Coppice once again, surely an opportunity for Renz. He's very, very close. That DRS is going to pop open. It's not enough of an advantage there. It comes very close into the chicane. Can't manage to pull anything off. Mistake again from Ricardo. No slowdown though. He didn't take too much of the right-hand curb there, but yeah, this will be frustrating Kern, I think, a little bit, because he knows he can actually go a little bit quicker, and Ricardo keeps pulling away, then making mistakes and actually holding them all up right now, and this is making the job quite difficult to get, back to the likes of Benningfield.
Kevin Ellis Jr. is around. He has lost it on the exit of was that turn 7 behind Andre Eisenlaw. Eisenlaw had nothing to do with that though, but spinning up the tyres.
Just lost it out of McLean's. Well, this is about the time of the race where the tyres start to sort of scream at you a little bit, and if you're going to no-stop it, you have to be, very, very gentle on them. And of course now his tyres are going to be cooked for a few laps at least. I wonder if he'll jump in the pits here, and because we've seen it before, haven't we, Conrad, where a driver has a little moment and then it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse, Well,
it's going to get worse for him, no doubt. And jumping into the pits, I really don't think is an option for him anymore. It's only got 17 laps left in the race. If he pits now, they lose about 20 seconds in the pit cycle. He's going to lose out to...
Puts him down into about 6th place, it will, I think, just behind Guerrero. So, yeah, you're right, he's going to have very limited time to catch up. He will, of course, be very, very fast. So, he might be able to make his way back up to sort of a podium position. You're right. If he's still in there now, he's still 3rd place. If he can hold on and just keep hold of these, just watch these tyres for a few laps and really let them calm down, he should be okay.
Kevin Ellis Jr. is going to be, in his mind, I'm pretty sure he's going to lay some blame on Eisenlaw there. He would make the argument that Eisenlaw should have let him through earlier, and just having a little bit of trouble getting past Gary Larson as well. So it's not going to be a happy bunny in there.
Going to switch back to this battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Very close at the moment. Just look at the sector times. And Kern the fastest in the first sector, and they're actually completely equal. Roscoe and Kern in the second sector as well. Who's going to get the final sector? So it's in between them right now. Back to the 109.4. So yeah, I tell you what, Ricardo's not really picked up any time with the fresh tyres at all, which is quite a surprise. And right now, I think Kern is definitely being held up. Maybe those 2 little spins that he's had just killed off any advantage that he had. And Ferenz will be, like I say, I think he'll be getting quite frustrated in that, because they're not really catching up the guys ahead at any sort of rate of knots where they, I'm pretty sure they could be, just based on that 8.8 that we saw Ferenz do earlier on.
Yeah, I think they all 3 made the pit stops and just came in and converged on the same piece of track. It's not something any of them really needed, because they fight amongst each other now. And what this does is not only putting them in a position where they're fighting for maybe 1 or 2 positions, but it's diminishing the chances of catching all the likes of Daniel Benefield, Manuel Domingo, even Kevin Ellis Jr., guys who haven't pitted.
Yeah, Guerrero is definitely going to catch Benningfield, though. I can tell you that. Closing in 9/10 of a second that last lap as well. He's only 3.1 back, so that battle will go on. Now it's whether or not there's any kind of real fighting going on, because is the tyre going to be able to hold on enough to actually be able to defend a little bit and have a bit of battle? We've seen it's not easy to get a run. Are you going to be able to get enough of a run with the fresh tyre? Who knows? Could be some some serious dogfighting going on out there, because those with the older tyres, are somewhat protected by the circuit sort of layout being so short.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be in a better position to answer the question than me, but I mean, it's often watching the cars in their races that we covered. It seems like the newer tyres benefit you more coming out of the faster corners as opposed to these slow hairpins. Getting the traction down and getting the speed coming out of the corner, enabling to make that pass.
It does help in the high speed corners. You can carry more speed, but actually it does give you quite a bit more drive out of the slow speed as well. I mean, probably for the best example, we go back to Kota last week when they were coming out that final turn and they were getting past before even the DRS zone. So it does make quite a difference. So I would think it'll close up a lot through the two hairpins and maybe have an opportunity to open up something into turn one or out of turn one, as we've seen Ricciardo do already.
And Guerrero catching Benefield by another 1.1 seconds on that last lap. So that gap, once the pit stops were made, they were only benefiting on the fresh tyres by about half a second a lap. For some it's now over a second, and we've still got 13 laps left in the race.
Yeah, Kern once again got to within 0.2 of a second, but bit of dirty air and still couldn't do anything with it. He's just not really closing up at all, even with the DRS. It's like I say, it's worth pointing out, because you can take your pick with what gear to go up into. You can stay in 7th gear there, so drivers are not even they're just constantly accelerating. So yes, while having the flap open does help, it really matters much more when we're sort of 310 kilometers an hour. That's where it has massive gains. New fastest lap for somebody as well. I think that was Fernando Guerrero. It was at 108.869. Ignore the pop-up on screen.
Yeah, it was indeed the fastest lap for him, and as we said, he's chasing Daniel Benefield, and has another gain of 1.3 seconds on that last lap. So you really see the big difference between the fresh and the older rubber starting to show right now.
Yeah, 11 laps to go. So Beningfield's under pressure from the three that are battling as well. They are lapping just about fast enough right now to catch him up before the end of the race. So he won't want to lose too much time here. If he defends hard and tries to hold on to it, great if he can. But if he's compromising lines and things like that and slowing himself down again another few tenths of a second, then he's going to have a whole host of cars behind him.
I was just looking at Guerrero and Benefield coming down the main straight. I think where this battle might be won is not so much on how much traction you get out of that last corner, but how much later you can brake on the fresh tyres going into turn one. Really seemed like Guerrero was a lot more confident on the brakes into turn one than Benefield was. And that's where he got really onto it. Almost seemed to catch him out a little bit. He was a little bit surprised at the closing speed.
Yeah, 0.4 been tucked up underneath the wing and the gearbox pretty much all lap. Taking perhaps a lap or two just to figure out maybe where is going to be the best place to use his tyre. I think that's what we normally see, isn't it? Our driver will either go straight by, like as soon as they hit them, or it just takes them a few laps just to figure out where the driver's slightly vulnerable.
Oh, see, he's getting right up to the back of him on the exit of turn one. He's gonna have, it's gonna have to be a brave man to try and make a pass. Oh, he's got a chance now, coming over the old hairpin. Benefield just having a little moment. Benefield placing his car well, though. Guerrero not really getting a look. Another, oh, yeah, he's going to get a good run out of this next corner as well. Benefield just picking up a little bit of dust.
And also going very tight as well was Benefield there as well. So he'll compromise his exit, but he's defending the inside as Guerrero looks to try and squeeze him, but DRS gets him by and clear before the chicane. So that's a place lost. But yeah, there's a lot of battle in there, and I'll tell you what, the guys have closed in quite considerably now. Ferenc Kern, is worth saying as well, is past Ricardo. Ricardo drops to the back of this pack. Let's see if we can go back and see what happened there, because that's quite important as well. Yeah, so, right, I think it's going to be on the same lap. So Ferenc tucked up behind
10-1.
Ricardo. Oh yeah, just runs wide into the gravel. Both drivers just slip straight by. So a mistake more than anything, but that has released Kern as well. And actually his first lap after being released was an 8.9, so he has been held up for quite some time. So it really is go time for him. Possible 6th place on. Can't see anything more. But he'll take that after he come onto the chat after qualifying and said it was a pretty poor one from him.
Yeah, and Benefield, I think if he can hold on, just under 9.5 laps left for Kern in this race. If he can just hold on, then you know, that battle between Kern, Sabatov, and Orozco really would have cost them a lot, because that was a huge amount of laps where they just sat one behind the other before Kern got released.
Mark Warmington moving out the way as well. Issues for Mark today. Not had a great race really, has he? From first lap really, he's had some sort of problems. So yeah, unfortunate for him. Fernando Guerrero 108.837, new fastest lap. Once again, ignore what's on screen. So he's picking it up. He's 8.1 seconds behind Domingo with 9 laps to go, and he is lapping a second a lap faster. So it is possible for him to get up to 4th place, which I think that would kind of put him back where he was, if I'm not mistaken. He was 4th, wasn't he? Yeah,
he started in 5th, and yeah, he's currently right where he started the race. So yeah, getting 4th place, that'll at least provide him with some kind of progress through the course of the race. But yeah, it's going to be a cracker. When it comes to this part of the race, and we look at average number of seconds or tens that one driver is to catch another one with by the end of the race, and you see it's possible, then it gets really exciting.
Just take stock for a moment then. So Daniel Wensin leads, 8 laps to go on a 17.2 seconds advantage as he crossed the start-finish line that time by. Yeah, looks very comfortable out there right now. Zoran Jonic is in 2nd place. Kevin Ellis Jr. has dropped back a little bit, of course, because of the mistake he made, but might actually be coming back at him, I think. 5.2? Was quicker by 0.3 of a second that last lap as well. So he's got the bit between his teeth, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to close that up. I think he lost about 8 seconds, didn't he, when he made that spin? So
yeah, it was quite a bit that he lost, and then he had to make his way past another back marker once again, so he lost a little bit more time there. I think Jonic might just be looking at the gap and just managing that to the end of the race now.
Domingo in 4th place. Obviously, he had his issues as well, and dropped back to was about 6th, 7th, 8th, something like that. It was quite a way, so decided to stay out there and see how it worked out with the strategy. It's going to be close between him and his teammate. For sure, Fernando Guerrero, who rounds out the top 5. The other battles, obviously, we know all about. Still, Ferenc Kern leads this trio, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Sabatov and Ricardo here as well. So yeah, can't break away. Lap times low 9s. Benningfield managed to get a high 9 that time as well. So it was only 0.6 of a second. That might just save him if he can do that sort of lap time for the remainder of the race.
Guerrero is hunting Domingo down. He's coming like a steam train. That last lap, he gained another 1.3, 1.2 seconds on Domingo. That gap is now down to 5 seconds with 6.5 laps to go for them. Really important to note, we've had 2 retirements as well. Floris Bashar earlier in the race retiring, and then ultimately Andrea Perazzi, after his spin, multiple offs, he's decided to pack it in as well.
Yeah, Sabatov closing in a little bit on Kern. I think this is probably what's stopping Kern doing those low lap times. He does a 9.0 and catches up 1.1 second that lap on Benningfield. Benningfield had a little bit of traffic, which is what Kern's coming up to now. But yeah, oh, there's a spinner. Where is that? Can't see it. It's off. It's Benningfield. Benningfield around. 6 laps to go. Where was the mistake? Is it going to be? I have to say, I think it.
I'll give you one
guess. Where it
guess.
is, yeah. Looking at where it is.
Oh, that's very unlucky. That was the old hairpin. I didn't really see him hit any reported landmine or anything like that.
That's it. Yeah, he cleared the landmine. So yeah, just the old hairpin, just a bit too much on the inside onto the gas hard, and yeah, loses it and drops himself down to 9th place.
And that would have been a great sight for the likes of Sabatov, Kern, and Orozco. And the 3 of them on the fresher tires, coming up to someone who hasn't pitted. It's a recipe for disaster, really. If you have 3 guys on the new tires, all fighting away for position, then coming up to a car that's running much slower because of the age of its tires, and they have to negotiate that as well. And everybody wants that spot. That's one at the front.
Watching Guerrero right now trying to hunt down his teammate. 2.1 seconds, 1.7 second gain that last lap. I'm guessing that was probably down to the back marker just ahead of him, but slowed down Domingo, so probably going to be the same sort of thing again as it goes into first of the hairpins onto the final corner as well. Back marker probably let him go down the straightaway section, I fully expect. Does indeed move straight over to the left. He signals his intent to get out of the way, and yeah, 2.2 seconds. It's going to come down to the wire, I think, Conrad.
That's what we want to see every single week. If we just get that treat of 1 or 2 little battles coming down onto the last lap, it's all worth it. There's another quick note. I think we've got another retiree, which is Augusto. He's pulled it into the pits as well, so we're down 3 with 13 left on the track.
Just watching that live timing counter with the gap just shrink away for Domingo. What was 2.2 when we crossed the line very quickly dropped through the the old hairpin, and now finds itself under 1 second as well. So yeah, Domingo, I can't see how he's going to hold on to this one at all.
Yeah, looking through the rest of the race, these guys from Positive Sim Racing, they haven't pulled any punches. If they had a move on going on their teammate, they've gone for it, and no favours. Well, there's a favour going to be shown there, but that's the first one of the race, and there's going to be the only one. They generally have they've raced each other really hard without, unlike some other teammates driving into each other. Wink, wink.
Yeah. Kevin Ellis Jr. down to 3.9 seconds, still closing up. Like you say, I think Doran just managing that gap. You know, he'll let it drop down to about 2 seconds if he needs to, going into the final laps. It really doesn't matter to him, does it? So he knows that Wenson's far too out there. He just needs to make sure he doesn't make a mistake and gift P2 to Kevin here.
Yeah, and I think that was a smart move by Domingo to let Guerrero through again on the main straight. and Guerrero is in the 109s. Alice Jr. is in the 10s. It's a sizable gap with 2 laps to go. It's just under 6 seconds.
Yep.
But I bet you never know. And instead of losing them both time by fighting over fourth and fifth, just let your teammate with the fresh rubber go through and see what he can do. I'll keep an eye on that gap between Guerrero and Alice Jr. It is down to about 5.5 seconds. Last lap, Guerrero did gain about 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, very impressive 108.862. Bad lap actually for Kevin. He hasn't been lapping that slow for a while. It has mainly been keeping it in either the very low 10s or the high 9s. So, yeah, perhaps just conceded his position, and in turn also doesn't want to make a mistake out there right now and gift the position to Guerrero. Heading on to the last lap for our leader. Hasn't had too much attention. Let's go on board with him for this final lap.
Yeah, he really has driven very, very well. We made the top 3 really. Made the no-stopper work. And they've all been lapping really consistently. If you look at Vensing, his fastest lap time was 108.9. And last lap was a 109. Well, let's run it up, so 109.6. So, to lose barely 0.5 second or 0.6 seconds with the tyres over the course of 51 laps is an impressive feat.
Yeah, very, very good. So, like I said, quickest lap 108, 108.9, and then a 109.5 that one. So yeah, very, very comfortable. Car looks very good as well. Coming out of the hairpins, no real issues. Very much under control for Wensim. One more corner to go then. Great last lap to show as well. Oh yeah, Roscoe dropping down the order. So, but here he comes, Daniel Winson takes round 3 at the iRacing Grand Prix Series in absolute, dominant fashion.
Yeah, it's very well done. I'm not entirely sure what that was from a Roscoe. You know what? I think it's fuel.
Oh.
It is fuel indeed. Oh no.
There was a couple of people saying that they were struggling with fuel, which surprised me, I'll be honest. Kevin Ellis Jr. comes across in 3rd place. Domingo in 5th. Sorry, we just missed his teammate there. Guerrero. Sabatov has got past. No, he hasn't, has he? Yeah, Sabatov's got past Ferenz, didn't he? What happened to Ferenz?
I suspect there's some more fuel issues. There's quite a few of them running across the line, just spluttering along.
Just jump that back and see if that was what that was. Because he was ahead. No, he was already behind before the lap and doesn't seem to be suffering with any fuel. Whether he made a little mistake or something the previous lap, I don't know. But yeah, unfortunately, drops down to 7th place. So be a little gutted with that, I think. But still, a good race anyway for him from 12th to 7th. But yeah, Sabatov takes 6th place. So good, also a good job from him.
Yeah, it was really entertaining race. The guy, the podium did brilliantly well, and you can just see some of the chat going on there, and the main topic is blue flags. I did mention earlier about one of our front runners spinning and angry hand waving at a back mark, and that's exactly what's happened.
It's so hard to overtake here as well, and I think people forget that as well. And back markers really have to make a point of getting out of the way as well. So yeah, I can understand a bit of frustration. Temperatures are a little bit high straight after the race, but let's take us through the final standings, if you would, Conrad.
We had Daniel Vensing winning this one from pole position, never gave up the lead. And 2nd place, Zoran Jonic. 3rd place, we had Kevin Ellis Jr. with Manuel Domingo in 4th place. Fernando Guerrero coming home in 5th with Ruslan Sabatov in 6th place. Ferenc Kern making his way up from 13th to 7th in the course of the race, with Daniel Benefield making a return to the series in 8th. Cleaver Foley in 9th place, Ricardo Roscoe suffering from some fuel issues at the end, coming in 10th. Andre Eisenlaw in 11th. Gary Larson in 12th place. 13th place was Mark Warmington, and then we had the 3 retirements, which was Ronaldo Agosto in 14th, Andre Perazzi in 15th, and Floris Bishar in 16th place.
That is that then, I believe, Conrad. I'd better just quickly see where we are next week. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's Silverstone, staying in Britain for this one.
Yeah, of course. The real life
Yeah.
championship is at Silverstone as well, so
We
that
are
makes
indeed.
sense.
Yep. Yeah, we are indeed.
I'll admit, Donington, I was apprehensive before we came on air. I generally don't watch any of the races during the week coming up to this race on a Sunday. So I mean, it's all a fresh new look, but it certainly delivered more than I was expecting it to.
Yeah, definitely. Right, thanks guys for tuning in. I don't think we're going to get the table updated in time to let you know what's going on. I think Jamie will have given up the lead because he hasn't raced so far this week. So yeah, before going into this one, Fernando Guerrero was sitting top with Zoran behind him. Winston, of course, this is his 3rd race that he's done, so he's missed a week, hasn't he, as well? So he's sort of starting show. Ferenz Kern in 4th. So yeah, they're still from pre this race, unfortunately. So we'll bring you the updated tables at the start of next week's round. But thank you everybody for tuning in. As always, Conrad, it's a pleasure. And yeah, we'll see everybody in a week's time.